Hello everyone, Gebatron here. In this video we are going to learn how the flares work in Hell Let Loose. Normally I get these post-update videos out right away, but there were some inconsistencies with how these were working, and I was waiting to hear back so I could know how to proceed. If you watch the Update 12 Commander Orders video, check the top right, then you probably already have an idea of what I'm talking about here, but suffice to say that Update 12 has some lingering issues that I've been told will be ironed out no later than Update 13, whenever that is. The issue here with the flares is a little more complicated, so stick around till the end of the video and we will touch on that. In any event, I decided to make these videos anyway, as even if things aren't working as intended, we should all still be on the same page and know how they are working right now. Having said all that, let's dive into it. The flare gun is only available for one role in the game, and that is the spotter role, specifically the scout loadout, which is unlocked once reaching role level 3. To equip the flare gun, either scroll to it in your inventory or hit the appropriate number to go directly to it, in this case the number 6. The flare fired from the flare gun must pop for it to detect enemies, which is its main purpose and function. The flare does not illuminate an area. They are designed to detect enemies similar to how the recon vehicles and recon planes do. Like I said, the flare must pop for this function to occur. If the flare is fired at too low of an angle, the flare will not have an opportunity to pop and it will lose its functionality. You can carry one round, or flare, for the flare gun. This can be resupplied by rearming at either an ammo drop or an explosive ammo box. Learn more about ammo boxes at the top right. Once the flare pops, this orange circle will appear on your map. The area inside this circle is where your flare will reveal enemy positions. This area is pretty large and covers the better part of a grid square. The diameter of the circle is about 200 meters, giving us coverage of roughly 31,416 square meters, just in case you were wondering. So what exactly do the flares reveal? Let's find out. Here we have enemy armor, an enemy soldier, a light vehicle, a repair station, a garrison, an enemy node, a bunker, and a large enemy supply box. You can see it all marked here on the map. Let's fire our flare, and this does take a little bit of practice to get good at, getting it to where you want. Firing it more vertically will keep the flare closer to you, while firing it more horizontal will take it further away. We remove our marks and you can see the only things that flares can reveal are vehicles and soldiers. Soldiers show up as little red dots. Armor is a solid diamond, and light vehicles, or trucks, are hollow diamonds. These indicators do not move in real time. In other words, the flare merely takes a snapshot, or a still image of the battlefield. These indicators will stay on the map for about 1 minute 20 seconds before they disappear. Who can see this intel? All officers can see this info, support players can, all members of armor crews can, and all members of recon squads can. Flares are also lethal. While not the best use of a flare, you can use one in a pinch to get a kill. So I was told by my contact before Update 12 even launched that flares were supposed to behave the same as the recon planes do. If you follow the channel, then you probably already know this, but you are able to hide from recon planes. Learn about how that works at the top right. So this is where the inconsistencies I spoke of earlier come into play. Here my partner Fairytale is in a level 3 bunker which is covered by a camo net. These nets will in fact hide you from recon planes. However, the flare reveals her clear as day, pun intended. So maybe that's how flares are supposed to work, right? Well, buildings such as houses, barns, etc. hide you too, so let's check those out. Here you can see her in a building. We fire our flare. It pops. And all seems well in the world as we cannot see her, just like the recon plane, right? Let's wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. There. As soon as our orange circle disappears, her position is revealed. This convinces me that the flares are not working properly, as I can't imagine this is what is intended. I retested the recon plane just in case something had changed there, but it still functions properly. And then to throw another wrench in the machine, I tested the recon vehicle, and it reveals her right away. I had not tested the recon vehicle extensively prior to this, so I can't say if it was always this way or not, but the simple fact here is that all these things that are supposed to be functioning the same are not. Moreover, the subject of this video, the flares, which I was told are to function like the recon plane, aren't functioning as either the plane or the vehicle, as the enemy is visible, but only after the orange circle disappears. Now, I did bring this to the devs' attention and they received a video of all my testing results. The response I got was simply, quote, "The quality assurance team is investigating." This is a different response than the one I got regarding the problems with the Update 12 commander orders. There they told me those issues would be resolved no later than Update 13, but here the response is less concrete. So the reason I'm telling you this is because I don't know for sure if this is going to change, and if it does, what those changes will be. Such as the commander order one, where all the ammo drops are delivered via a B-17, I was told that would be fixed and what planes they would be fixing it to. Here it's just we'll have to wait and see. I have no doubt they are looking into it and will make changes, but I just can't report anything more concrete at the moment. That's why these videos took so long for me to get out. First I waited for the post-update patch, then I waited for responses, then I wrestled with the question, do I even make these videos, as the info in them isn't, proper. It's not how they're supposed to work. Ultimately, I did make them, obviously, as even if it's not working correctly now, players should still know how it is working. So sorry for the wait on these Update 12 guides. I'm sure I'll have to make updates to these in the future, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss them. I'll also put any clarifications or updates I receive in a pinned comment, so check that before leaving. How do I think flares should be used? Now this always brings up the old question of, is it better to use recon elements to expose where the enemy is, or to find where they aren't? The answer is both, depending on your goals. Trying to aid the CO in making their bombing run as accurate as possible right before an assault, then expose where the enemy is. Trying to make sure an area is clear so you can safely build an offensive garrison, use it to find where they aren't. Like most things in Hell Let Loose, it pays to be flexible and creative. Also note that you are able to fire multiple flares in succession. So you can fire a flare, say, north of a strong point, then provided you can quickly resupply your flare via an explosive box or an ammo drop, you can then quickly fire another flare on the south of the strong point. You'll then be able to ascertain enemy strengths and weaknesses much better. This effect is multiplied if you are coordinating with a recon vehicle or with the commander and their recon planes. And yes, I know you can redeploy to get your flare back too, but I try not to promote that type of play here on the channel. To me, there's a difference between temporarily playing with a bug in the game that will be fixed versus taking advantage of a flaw in the game's design to which there is no clear solution. There has been a lot of feedback regarding, quote, flare spam. So don't be terribly surprised if we see some changes to how this works in the future. I have found myself spending a little more time closer to the action using flares as a way to provide that intel more readily to attacking squads. In other words, I've pretty much taken on the role of assisting a specific squad or two to help them achieve their individual goals more effectively. However, since I am finding myself closer to the front lines, it's useful to have an exit plan. Once you shoot that flare, your position becomes easy to find. So shoot and scoot is the order of the day. Don't forget about your marks just because you have a flare. While the flare is great and will provide a snapshot to a limited number of teammates, your marks and binoculars can do an adequate job of this in most cases. So I recommend using marks rather than flares if you can, simply to not give away your position and intentions. But there are plenty of times you'll want to use your flares. Now normally I do not recommend using recon elements in urban environments too often, as a portion of the enemy will likely be in buildings and cover, making your recon intel inaccurate. And that's going to remain my long-term advice, assuming these flares get changed to work the same as the recon planes. However, in the meantime, since they do expose enemies in buildings, have at it for now, I guess. I don't think flares are all that terribly useful deep behind enemy lines, as there is limited useful information to gather back there. It doesn't pay to use a flare in reporting enemy vehicles moving towards the front, as the indicators will soon be irrelevant with a moving vehicle. Better to just report that vehicle via voice chat or text chat with a mark and vehicle type. I could see it being more useful deep behind enemy lines as the attacking team in offensive mode in trying to ascertain which strong point has activity. Firing your flare over these areas could simply help save you time rather than running all the way there to gather intel firsthand. What are some of the ways you are using flares? Well, that does it for this one. What are your thoughts on flares and Hell Let Loose? Let us know in the comments. There's related videos on your screen, so check those out. Check the description for ways to support Gebatron Gaming directly, as well as a link to Glow's community Discord. Please do all the things that help the algorithm. As always, thank you for your support, and see you in the next one.